All right, it is that time. Monday through Friday here at 11 a.m. we host Forecasting with Friends. I say we because a lot of times it's me and JD or me and Allison Gargaro, but today no friends on Forecasting with Friends. It's just me. But that's okay because being kept pretty busy here tracking what's going to be a Fox 26 Storm Alert Day coming up on Thursday. Now we're going to go into a lot of detail on that coming up just a little bit later, but for right now I want to get you caught up on what to expect for today itself. We actually do have some coastal fog that's been developing. The National Weather Service has issued this dense marine fog advisory, and this is going to be with us through at least noon today. Sometimes these sea fog type of events could hang around for a while. Notice the numbers that are on land here are okay. We look for anything below a mile, especially anything that gets down to a quarter of a mile of visibility. But these numbers are looking okay. Just watch out, keep that in mind. Right down there at the beaches, we do have some fog. Now, elsewhere inland, it's mostly low clouds. So the clouds are not right on the ground creating fog, but we do have a couple of misty spots, maybe just a couple of light drizzles out there as well. Otherwise, it's just yucky and overcast. Our temperature is only up about 2 degrees or so from where it was early this morning. We're currently at 56 at Hobby Airport. Told you about that wind earlier this morning, that the wind was going to be switching. Yesterday it was coming in from the north, which is colder. Today it's coming in from the east, which is just a little bit more kind of neutral. And so that should allow things to warm up a little bit, especially south of Interstate 10. So Galveston right now has only gone from 52 this morning to 54 now late this morning. Notice Arcola is a little bit milder at 57. It's about 56 right now for Richmond, Rosenberg, Stafford, and downtown Houston. Still holding on, though, to some chilly air over there, Prairie View and Brenham and Navasota, where we're still about 50 to 51 degrees, and that temperature has not budged at all this morning. Let me walk you through the next day or so as far as the temperatures. So as we head toward noontime today, we should be seeing temperatures rising up close to 60, and then heading into the afternoon, I'll tell you this model, this graph model for us, I think is a little bit high with the high temperatures today. Could be closer to about that 62 degree level. Down to the south and like Fort Bend County might be a little bit warmer. By 8:30 tonight, a chance for some light showers to roll in, and they'll kind of be off and on through the overnight hours. Nothing heavy, but making for more slick streets as temperatures drop into the upper 50s. And then tomorrow we'll make our way back to about 60 by 9 a.m. But by the way, that'll be followed up by much warmer air for the afternoon, possibly as high as 70. Now, on to space news.
3, 2, 1, ignition, and liftoff. Go Falcon, go Starlink.
Oh, it's exciting again. This is a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. It launched from Cape Canaveral yesterday. It was carrying 21 of those little Starlink satellites, including 13 with direct to cell phone capabilities. These are the things that sometimes people see in the sky, like little lights, a string of lights in the sky. The launch marks the 20th flight for the first stage booster supporting the mission. The booster landed on a drone ship that was stationed out in the Atlantic Ocean, which is always just incredible to see that they can do that. All right, heavy rains are now setting off mudslides and the threat for more mudslides out in Southern California. This, of course, at a time when much of the area is not even started to recover by what happened from what happened by the devastating wildfires. Let's get the latest from Fox's William LaJeunesse in Malibu.
Nearly 3 weeks after 2 wildfires claimed lives and wiped out entire neighborhoods, drought-stricken Southern California is finally getting some rain. But with rain comes fear of mudslides, especially in burn areas. Crews prepared for flash floods, but less than an inch of rain actually fell. Visible damage minimal, with stuck vehicles and mud flows shutting down roadways. But what we don't see is how the rain, mixed with potentially toxic debris from destroyed homes, will impact our health and health of the California coast.
You can see the ash.
Scientists with UC San Diego and the nonprofit Heal the Bay are testing waters off Santa Monica.
This is somewhat unprecedented in that we haven't seen a fire of this scale this close to the water.
The concern is runoff could be toxic. Barriers now line Pacific Coast Highway to block debris, and the county health department is urging residents to stay out of the water.
This fire did not only burn vegetation, it also burned structures. And in those structures, there are things like metal piping, there's plastic products, there's cleaning products, there's potentially lead and asbestos, all kinds of things in these buildings that also burned.
So let me show you why that's a concern. This is a typical hillside lot in Malibu. Now, you get enough rain in that gully, the soil, the ash, the debris, that's all coming down. Where's it going? Into Santa Monica Bay. Now, the good news is we got rain. Now we need about 90% more by May 1st to get out of this drought. The other good news, the people of the Palisades are now being allowed back in to reclaim their homes or what is left. In Malibu, California, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
The rain to help out with the drought, but you certainly don't want it all coming down at once because the vegetation is gone that used to hold the dirt in place there on the hillsides, and that's what's causing the threat for mudslides, and that takes a long time to recover. Could be that way potentially for the next couple of years. All right, did you have to buy or rent a generator after Hurricane Beryl to get your family through that week? Well, the storm knocked out power, of course, to hundreds of thousands of us, millions of customers, in fact, for days and days. FEMA doesn't usually reimburse victims for the cost of a generator unless it's for medical equipment, but they did announce that this time they would be refunding up to $629. But several of our viewers say they're still waiting for their checks.
We're stuck with waiting for a caseworker to look at the claim. And that's been going on for 6 months now.
Yep, FEMA says that it's continuing to partner with the state of Texas to process 1.5 million applications for FEMA assistance. Texas Health and Human Services says they have an 18-month timeline to resolve cases. Well, at least they're, maybe getting some cash for what they had to, expend for the generators. All right, coming up next, speaking of emergency preparedness, this is what I love to call, this is a JD special. As part of his emergency gear test, we get an extra long version that you will only see here on Fox Local. I like to call it Emergency Gear Test Uncensored. JD will be up next with it after this.
All right, welcome back to Forecasting with Friends. I'm meteorologist John Dawson, and this is that special emergency gear test just for the Forecasting with Friends audience. Get to dive into things a little bit more. And if you'll remember, of course, last week we had that huge Arctic blast and really reminded us that even though we live way down here on the Gulf Coast, there are times that we need to sort of make some emergency preparedness plans for wintry weather. Most of the time, I kind of skip over the winter weather emergency plans because it's just not that cold around here all the time. But we've certainly had some cold snaps lately, and so I figured we need to at least discuss it a little bit. And what I want to start off by saying is that every year after that first cold front hits, what I do is I take this heavyweight jacket and I put it in my car, and I just make sure that it stays there all the way through at least April, let's say. And that way, if I ever find myself out and I'm caught in the cold, I know that in my vehicle I've got this jacket and it's going to be able to provide me with some warmth, whether it be I have car problems or whether it be I just all of a sudden need to be outdoors and I wasn't really expecting it that much. But that's what I do for myself, is I keep this in my car as that warm weather. Now, my wife's vehicle, it has a little better storage than mine, and so what we do there is we keep this camping blanket in there year-round. So in here is a camping blanket. I'm going to get that out in here just a minute. And we keep it in there year-round. And then that way, whether it's really cold time of the year and you need a blanket, or maybe it's a milder time but a blanket would just be nice, it's kind of there to kind of keep things ready to go. So the brand here is Rumpel, and this is their original puffy blanket is what they call that, the original puffy blanket. And so what I like to remind people about is when it comes to camping supplies, in general, they make pretty good emergency preparedness items. And the reason being is because generally speaking, they're lightweight and yet they're durable. And so those are two things that are really helpful in emergency preparedness: lightweight and durable. And most of the time, camping supplies can also get dirty, and they can handle the weather elements, kind of whatever they are. So this camping blanket comes with this stuff sack, and you put the blanket in there for storage, and that really does help with the compression of the blanket. So it helps to take up a much smaller amount of space. And when you get this thing out, this is their one-person sized blanket. So the one-person sized blanket is 52 inches by 72 inches. So 52 by 72, this is their one-person sized blanket. And I wish I would have written down and remembered color they call this. They have a lot of really cool different colors that they have on their blankets, and I can't remember for sure what this one is. I think the word Baja is in there somewhere, but don't quote me on that necessarily if you're looking for it on the website. But again, I think this is a great looking color, and it's their one person size. They make a two-person size blanket as well, and this again is primarily designed for camping. So the majority of the features that we're going to go over here are very helpful for camping, but as I mentioned, they help well for emergency preparedness. And this is, again, I'm recommending maybe you were to keep this in your car, or even in some cases you might be able to keep something like this with your go bag and kind of keep that ready to go. If it's summertime, maybe you wouldn't take it with your go bag, but if it's wintertime and you're grabbing your go bag, then it would be there and ready, and you could kind of take that with you. So first of all, let me kind of just note that basically this feels like a thin sleeping bag. And the reason being is that the interior insulation here is primarily the same stuff that they put in technical sleeping bags, or, you know, jackets that you would wear in snowy conditions. That does have this exterior shell here that has had some treatment, and that's going to help it resist stains as well as just be weather resistant in general. It's about a coating on it that does it. And I also think, or I also remember in some of the things that I read about it, that it's really good at repelling dog hair as well. So I think a lot of people that camp, you know, they like to have their pets as well. So that would be, again, just another feature that kind of talks about it being pretty durable. Now, another feature for camping is going to be that on the ends here, on these corners, you're going to see these little paracord loops here that are on the corners. And those are going to be great for hanging, if you want to do some hanging, or if you wanted to stake this to the ground, that's also helpful. And if you have an Eno or like a hammock, you can use these to help kind of secure that around the hammock to kind of make that another layer of insulation. But let me get to my favorite part. This is my absolute favorite part of this blanket. This blanket has these little pieces of hardware here that are on, I don't know, about the 1/3 mark. Well, it's not even about 1/3, but I think it's on, yeah, it's on two different ends of the links. You see these little clips here. And what you can do with this is you could put this around yourself, and these are called cape clips, because what it does is it attaches and it allows you to have hands-free operation. Hands-free operation of a blanket is not what you always think of, but again, it's hands-free, and you still get that warmth of the blanket. And it feels good to have a cape, right? It just kind of makes you feel good to be cape-like. So these are called cape clips. I think it's a great feature to really, because you've kind of put a blanket on you before and then it kind of starts going one way or another. But this hardware that's on here, these clips, allow you to really clip it on, and you can actually be hands-free. Now also, if you had other Rumpel products, they also have these matching clips that are on them, and you can then like actually put more of their products together. So that would be just kind of a feature again if you happen to have more of their products. Now, a couple things about this stuff sack is that, number one, it is great for that compression that I talked about to kind of help store it down in a smaller size, but also it has its own water and stain resistance as well. So that's even kind of an extra layer of protection, and it doesn't even hurt to have a sack like this around. You know, even once you get the blanket out, you can take advantage of that. It also has a pretty good carry handle once you fasten that up here on the end. And one other thing that I want to mention here as we kind of begin to wrap up our segment is that earlier Friendly products are always great, right? Everybody likes it when things are good for our planet. And in this case, this is made from 100% post-consumer recycled. The shell, the liner, the insulation, it's 100% post-recycled plastic bottles. Each one of these blankets came from 60 plastic bottles, which I was thinking about the number of that. That's a lot of plastic bottles, 60 to go into this blanket. And that's, again, just a good thing when you can kind of take something that would normally be trashed or just causing some problems in our planet, and you can recycle those and into this blanket. Now, one critique I do have about this blanket is that it's maybe not as warm as what you would be looking for in general terms. It'll certainly provide some warmth, but I think it's primarily designed to go down to about 40 to 45 degrees. I'm not sure that it's designed to really get you down all the way into, let's say, freezing. It would be good if you had this blanket and then you had, you know, something else that kind of goes over it to sort of keep it even more insulated. But this is certainly going to provide you with some warmth, and much better than obviously nothing. And that's the whole idea when we're talking about emergency preparedness, is we're getting ready to handle the elements when you really don't have ideally what you want to have anyway. Woo! I got to take this thing off just a minute. The heat is on here, as it is certainly working. So again, the name is Rumple. This is their original puffy blanket. It is kind of like a puffy jacket, or sort of, like I said, a thin or a lightweight sleeping bag. And it could be a great addition for you. You got to go to my YouTube channel to look up exactly what I rate this on my emergency, what level I give it on my emergency priority kit. So you look that up. But I will tell you that the pricing on their blankets are really all different depending on the size. Remember, there's 1 person and 2 person, as well as the color patterns. I guess some colors are more expensive than others. I don't know exactly how that works, but they're priced differently. And this one, I wish I could remember the name, but this one is $99 is the price of this one. And then, so I think there's a few a little less and a few a little more. I think this is kind of in the middle there as far as their pricing goes. And they make other blankets besides just the original puffy blanket. But this one, again, I think would be great for that emergency preparedness for all of those reasons we just kind of went over just a little bit. All right, as always, go to my YouTube channel. So you go to YouTube and then you search Meteorologist John Dawson. You look me up. I got all my product reviews there, and that's where it's great for you to leave a comment and let me know what are some of your winter weather emergency plans that you're thinking about just a little bit. All right, thanks for checking in here. I'll look for those comments on my YouTube channel, and more Forecasting with Friends is up after this break.
Hi everybody, Chief Meteorologist Mike Iscovitz here at Fox 26. Thursday is a Fox 26 Storm Alert Day. Now, Storm Alert Day is not issued by the National Weather Service, and it's not any sort of a technical official warning, but it's an alert, sort of a heads up for you to let you know that there's going to be a time frame where it's going to impact you. The weather's going to impact you. Sometimes it could be because of heavy rain. Sometimes it could be severe weather. Sometimes it could be ice or snow. In this case, we're looking for the combination of the chance for heavy rain and maybe even some severe thunderstorms along a line moving in on Thursday. So maybe Wednesday night, but heading into Thursday. So the first thing I want to show you here is our exclusive Fox model, and we're beginning Tuesday evening, this evening at 11 o'clock, and there's really not a ton going on here, at least not in the early going, just some drizzly weather. Now, this area of low pressure is the same low that brought some heavy snow to Southern California on Sunday. So it's been kind of slowly beginning to dip down into northern Mexico, and will find its way here into Texas. And as it does, it's going to change our wind direction. So when you see here Thursday morning at 2 a.m., we've got that Gulf flow coming back. So a lot of moisture surging on in, and then we have this area of low pressure and a front. All of that is going to come in and lift this moisture up and create most likely a line of some thunderstorms. Now, right now, our Fox model here at, let's give it take about noon, on Thursday is showing this line coming through. Very likely that will be a line of thunderstorms. It makes its way through the area. Actually looks like it might get a little bit stronger over here to the east and to the northeast side, but it's going to be a very short-lived type of event. So just there heading into Thursday midday and Thursday afternoon. Beyond that, it exits the area, and look at this. Coming up by Friday, we get this very dry north and northwest wind that's going to kick in. How much rain are we talking about here? Well, we can get a couple of opinions here. Again, the computer models are going to vary a little bit as we get closer, but our Fox model is showing a pretty solid line of at least an inch of rain, with some embedded locations, obviously a lot more than that. Up here in North Texas, north of the Dallas-Fort Worth area and along the Red River, between 2 and 4.5 inches of rain coming down. So this is just one opinion of one of the models. This is really neat to see here, sort of the dynamics of how the jet stream is going to help to give us that chance for severe weather in our Fox 26 Storm Alert Day coming up on Thursday. This is the position of the jet stream here Tuesday, or this evening, with this counterclockwise rotation around Las Vegas. But this part at the bottom, that's bright pink, that is the area that is the strongest part of the jet stream. It's somewhere around 150 mile-per-hour winds, up about 6 miles up in the atmosphere. So that's going to move here past North Texas, and on the bottom side of this is where you really have the strong lift in the atmosphere. The jet stream creates almost like a suction that pulls the air up. So that's going to give us our chance for seeing the rain. And then, by the way, after that passes, it's actually looking really tranquil for this upcoming weekend. Here's the severe weather outlook from NOAA's Storm Prediction Center for Thursday. And as I mentioned here, with that jet going overhead, it does give us a little bit of an enhancement to the risk maybe east of Houston or northeast of Houston. A closer look at that shows that this yellow area, which is the likely area for severe weather, includes places like Conroe and the Woodlands, Atascocita and Humble, Kingwood, and back over to Liberty. Now, it's not to say that we couldn't see some severe weather in Fort Bend and Brazoria or the Katy area either, but it's just a little bit more likely off toward the north and east of Houston. Here's another model, and what it's showing as far as rain chances is actually the GFS model, which is a lower resolution output, but it still shows the heaviest of the rain in North Texas. And depending on where you are here locally, some spots getting a little bit more than others. This latest run of the GFS has kind of let off on rain chances for us a little bit, but I suspect that's going to kind of flip back around. Now, specifically when we look at a flooding risk, we're not at an incredibly high risk for flooding, but we are in this green area here that is considered what's called a marginal risk for flooding. That's about a 5% chance in any given area here that's approximately the size of a county. So right now we could say that, for example, Montgomery County, there's about a 5% chance that you could see some localized flooding taking place in your area coming up on Thursday. So this is something obviously that we'll watch very close for you as we head into the day on Thursday. Should be moving out though as we head into Friday. And of course, check in with us frequently here at Fox Local, because we are going to have updates for you as we get a little bit closer to what could be a brief outbreak of strong storms.